Everyone always just tells you to speak and say something, but they never say how hard it is to come up with something to say once you're actually once you're actually there. So I'm making this video because I have had a rather rude awakening over the last little while, coming to appreciate the reality that I've been living in since my birth, basically, I suppose, is not how I imagined it to be, or not how it was sold to me to be. Um, Put on pretty plain and obvious display for me is the fact that the life plan of do well at school, do well at uni, do well at work, put your heart and soul into it, and blood and sweat and tears into it, and then retire at 65 or 75 is actually a pretty dumb way to live. But even though I think intrinsically a lot of people sort of know that, they don't know any other alternative but to do that. And so they just sort of do it. But I think it's taken somebody who's done something else telling me that it's possible to sort of shake me out of that. But now I'm sort of in a panic, like, oh man, what do I do now? I feel like I've got a taste of the fact that there's other things out there, but I still feel so unsure about how to actually pursue them. I've dabbled with non-traditional career trajectories in the past. Um, I streamed on Twitch for a while. That was a few years ago now. And over the last few years, I've done pretty well at work. And I think that people would agree that I'm a fairly valuable member of the team. And, when I think about where I'm going in the future, I think, well, up until recently, I've thought, yeah, I see myself pursuing this, and I see a future for myself here. And it will be rewarding enough for me financially to be, worth putting in all that effort. But now I'm not so sure. Well, now I'm sure that it's incorrect. But just knowing that what you're doing is incorrect isn't necessarily enough to change that trajectory. And I think especially with something like this, where it's such a whole of life issue, you need a pretty radical restructure and over a long period of time as well if you're going to change your trajectory onto something that's more aligned with a lifestyle that you would actually want to live. Now that I've been, as I say, sort of shaken out of where I was going before. So I've done a lot of thinking over the last little while, especially this weekend. Been listening to a lot of new ideas that have shaken a lot of my core beliefs, and I think it's apparent to me that the genie is out of the bottle. I can't go back to the way things have been. As much as I kind of would like to put the blinders back on and sort of just go back to my job, I have to go to sleep in about half an hour to get up at 5:30 and go to work tomorrow. But I think in the back of my mind, the seed has been planted. So this post is hopefully the first of many, which will be following my path as I try to figure out, first of all, what can I do to find a different path that works for me and find a way to live my life in a way that gives me freedom, the freedom that I want. And I think a lot of that is viewed through the lens of money, but it's not about the money, it's about the freedom that the money provides, if that makes sense. So I think a lot of it will be to do with that. A lot of it will also be to do with, starting a YouTube channel and all the things that I learned with that, which I'll also probably document. It's all very pie in the sky, I will admit. And I think the third thing that it will be, and potentially something that I want to integrate into YouTube, but also potentially into um, a different path for myself, is I have been learning Japanese for the last 2.5 years. To I was going to finish the sentence with to do something or other, but I actually don't even know why I've continued with it for as long as I have. I think intrinsically, what it symbolizes to me is, I mean, it's fun and I enjoy learning it, but I think what it intrinsically symbolizes to me is that possibility of doing something different, or getting out of my comfort zone, or living a different life. Um, and so up until recently, I had been planning on going and living over in Japan for work. However, unfortunately, that's fallen apart in the last couple of weeks. And so I've been thinking to myself, okay, with a timeline of around next year, what do I do? Can I get over there anyway with a different job? Do I go over there and backpack? Those have been my two main ideas. And so, one interesting thing that this channel could also incorporate is, how do I prepare for that? How am I thinking about that? How am I learning for that? Advice for people on learning languages, talking about my experience. So yeah, I think I'm quite excited to share those things as well, potentially. I love talking with people, and I love learning about their experience and their life, and helping them overcome their issues. Like, that's like my Coke, is helping people with their issues. Sometimes my advice might be a little, I don't know, maybe people would disagree with it, and sometimes I'm a little um, tough love, but but I do love doing that, so who knows where it might end up going. Anyway, I actually feel a lot less anxious than I did at the start, which is good. I feel like I've got a lot off my chest. Maybe I'll be able to sleep tonight. I haven't been able to sleep recently because I've been thinking about all these things. They've been percolating in my mind, and yeah, I haven't been able to rest. I've been frantically like searching for, okay, what am I going to do? But I think that pursuing this gives me some way of doing something actionable. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. Potential one viewer. Have a good one.